Guatemala's ex-president is spending a second night in jail. Earlier in the day, he was back in court on fraud charges. Otto Perez Molina quickly went from president to prisoner after his resignation this week. CCTV's Franc Contreras joins us live now from Guatemala City. Frank.
Thanks, Elaine. Yes, Otto Perez Molina sat in the defendant's chair today and repeatedly declared his innocence in this customs corruption scandal that has really rattled this Central American nation. Prosecutors allege he let businesses evade import taxes and accepted millions of dollars in bribes. Now, Perez Molina is going to remain in custody for a few nights until a judge is expected to rule on this case on Tuesday, Elaine. And we're told that today, Guatemala's armed forces accepted and welcomed their commander-in-chief and the country's newly installed interim president, Alejandro Maldonado.
A military welcome for Guatemala's stand-in president, Alejandro Maldonado. The conservative politician now leads a nation that is weathering a political crisis just days before Sunday's scheduled presidential election. Maldonado will govern as interim president until January, when the newly elected leader comes into office. He says he'll consult society before choosing his cabinet.
We will hold consultations with civil society in order to get the best people and establish his government of national salvation.
Otto Perez Molina became the first president in Guatemalan history to resign. Today he spent a second day at the nation's Justice Tribunal.
At this very moment, former Guatemalan President Otto Perez Molina is inside a courtroom here listening to the formal charges being brought against him. They include allegations that he took bribes from companies hoping to avoid paying import duties.
Perez Molina denied that his voice is on a series of audio recordings being held up as evidence he took bribes.
What are they based on? They are based on the fact that they want to link me to a criminal network, and I reject those accusations.
An expert on Guatemalan politics says the fact that Perez Molina resigned empowers the people of this struggling Central American nation.
The events of the last 2 weeks generate the sensation among citizens that change is possible, and now citizens are more organized than ever before, especially for the elections.
The country's newly installed president, Alejandro Maldonado, says he will do everything in his power to move this embattled country toward a smooth presidential transition.
Frank, you reported earlier that social media is a big factor. It actually led to the president's resignation. So what more can you tell us?
Well, Elaine, we've heard this over and over again around the world. Whenever citizens are angry with their governments, they've turned to social media to express those emotions. In this case, a very special twist on the use of social media. It turns out that a number of judges and members of Congress were about to make a decision on whether or not to remove immunity from prosecution of the former president of Guatemala, Otto Perez Molina, and some of those judges and congressional members were thinking about letting him get off, perhaps. And so many citizens put on a tremendous amount of pressure, and they did it in a very special way. They took photographs of the actual judges' homes and of their license plates, their vehicles, basically identifying exactly where they live, a sort of unspoken threat to those individuals, saying, if you don't vote against the president, we're going to come after you, in a way, I suppose, was the unspoken message coming from Guatemalan society. And so this was the use of social media that put a tremendous amount of pressure on government officials, judges, to come down with this decision to remove his immunity. And now we see, of course, he's in custody, and this tremendous climax of this scandal taking place just before Guatemalans go to the polls to elect a new president on Sunday, Elaine.
All right, CCTV's Franc Contreras live in Guatemala City.